And tonight on our Great American panel, she is a Chicago radio personality and parenting columnist for the Sun-Times. Betsy Hart is back. He is the former mayor of the great city of Providence in Rhode Island. He currently hosts his own radio program, The Buddy Cianci Show, and is the chief political analyst for ABC 6 News, Vincent Buddy Cianci. And she is a senior advisor at the think tank NDN, Democratic strategist. Alicia Menendez is back with us, guys. Good to see you. All right, I am having a hard time wrapping my arms around what we were discussing with Governor Huckabee, and that is our Attorney General repeatedly for 2.5 minutes, it goes on, will not admit we have radical Islam as an enemy. And then the second thing is he went on Meet the Press last Sunday, and he says, you know what, this Arizona immigration law encourages profiling. We may file a suit against it, and then later in the week admits he never read the law.
It's absurd.
It's absurd.
It's absurd. It's for the Attorney General and the Chief Law Enforcement Officer of the United States of America to say he hadn't read the law, but also is espousing all these things that he's going to do. And, you know, I guess as far as the Islamic terrorist stuff goes, I guess you got to give him credit politically. He wanted to get in early, you know, Sean, on that pro-Islamic terrorist movement, you know. It's absurd. I thought the biggest put down, though, was when that congressman said, do you want to read my copy of the bill?
Yeah, that was great. And it's only 10 pages. It's not 2,000 pages. When you print it out, I put it on my website. It's 16 pages.
I suppose Mr. Holder can be happy that all happened in the same hearing, because at least the news stories are sort of stepping on each other. You don't know which sort of ridiculous statement to look at first. When it comes to the idea that Islamic terrorism is something we should step back and not sort of call it what it is, what concerns me about that is he seems to be an intelligent man, and I find it impossible to believe you could be a sentient human being and not see the facts as they are. So that tells me something else is going on. What is it? Is political correctness more important than defending the American people? You know, is that what's at stake? Is it just all-out fear? I don't know what is going on there, but whatever it is, it concerns me because I have to believe he knows the truth.
I have a bit of a different take, which is that I don't think he's trying to say that radical Islam is not a threat or is not one of our enemies.
That's what he said.
It very clearly is. No, I think he's trying to be a little bit more precise in his language and say we have many threats. There are many reasons that this terrorism attack.
You can't spin your way out.
No, but I'm not trying to spin. I think, listen, the fact that he didn't read it, unforgivable. I think the fact that he wants to be precise about the language he's using is a bit of a different story.
Look, this is the same administration where Sherlock Napolitano, our great, Homeland Security Secretary, she wouldn't use the term war on terror. The man caused disaster.
What are they afraid of? What are they afraid of saying?
I'll tell you what they're afraid of. They are politically correct, and they're afraid to identify who the enemies of this country are, buddy, and that's the problem.
And that's because that political correctness is more important to them than protecting us.
I think
that's what scares me.
Actions speak much louder than words. We've invested more money, more troops in Afghanistan, and that is where our major threat is.
It's like saying that the Girl Scouts have nothing to do with Girl Scout cookies. Come on, of course Islamic terrorism comes from radical Islam.
But aren't you more interested
look at all
in
these
the
things that have
actions
happened?
that the administration is taking rather than the squabble over words?
What action? What action did they take?
I'm talking about all of the troops, all of the investment we've made in Afghanistan.
Wait a minute. He didn't give the generals everything they asked for. Number one, he's cutting troops paid right now as we speak. He's cutting back on the military spending now as we speak. The only area he wants to cut is the military. He's retreating. In every single case, there is an impulse and a compulsion, Betsy, to go out there and tell the American people this is not connected to terrorism, and then we find out in every case it's connected to terrorism.
Yeah, it's sort of like the see no evil idea. And of course, we've actually had more terrorist attacks and attempts on American soil since he's taken office with this Mr. Nice Guy approach than we ever did under President Bush.
How many have we had? How many things have we had in the last few months that are just totally tied? I mean, it's not much of a stretch. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure it out. The New York situation, the underwear bomb.
The first thing they say, though, is it's a lone wolf, it's a lone bomber.
It's not a lone wolf. It's a jihad. When are we going to learn this thing? When are we going to understand that they're against us?
When is this administration going to realize this?
There's one they. There are many they. We have many enemies, and we need to be precise about going after each and every one.
Radical Islamists, they are friends?
No.
Then
I don't think there's anyone suggesting that we're buddies.
Why don't you?
Because I think he was attempting to be more precise than that.
Precise, what, diplomatic?
That was his attempt at being precise.
As we exit here, I think he has disqualified himself this week to be our Attorney General.
To be embarrassed, I didn't read the bill. I mean, a 5- or 6-page bill, depending on what kind of print it is. That was the most embarrassing thing that I've seen.
If you take him down, how many members of the Obama administration will you have taken down?
Me?
You personally, yeah.
If I had my way.
Because I feel like you're going one by one.
Listen, we got a long list ahead of us.
The list are long, yeah.
All right, we're going to take a break. We'll come back and we'll have. Oh, wait till you see this. Remember, we just set up an anti-childhood obesity wing at the White House. Wait till you hear what the president ordered for lunch yesterday. Straight ahead.